I was conceived in a closet. I'm going to count to 10. And if this car doesn't turn around, I'm going to attack the driver. We're going, that's the American way. If you need to prove to yourself that you're tough, go live on a working ranch. Legitimate wrestling. And I was undefeated. I remember when I used to be a wrangler, my pride was the price. I was never a stripper. What am I doing wrong? Do I need to drop my morals? They were cheating on their makeup artists with me and the politicians. Give me sparkles. Like, holy crap. I have breast cancer. They found another tumor. My other superpower is optimism.
You've done ayahuasca.
Darkest, dirtiest, horrible secret. I developed an eating disorder. I didn't want to live another day living like this. It's so magical.
It can be addictive.
The same way learning is addictive. The expansion of the mind is it was for the good of humanity. Those are my celebrities. I'm going to finish my book. Psychedelics as a whole, the treatment center. That would be a dream of mine. Helping you is helping me. I was conceived in a closet in this house in Florida, which my dad was so proud to take me to show me on our last trip to Florida, where the lady who now owns the house, my father proudly proclaimed the story of that's the closet that my daughter here was conceived in. And the whole time I'm like, oh my gosh, Dad.
So now I understand, because before the interview, I was thinking about one word that I can describe you. I would say adventurous. From like dancing in Times Square in a heavy rain to jumping with the parachute to, oh my God, paying $6, $7 and
$6.
dealing with
well worth it.
Mexican borders. We're going to talk about this more.
Yes.
So crazy, fun, definitely adventurous. And this is, I'm just touching the surface because you're the kind of person who had layers and layers, like peeling an onion with never ending layers. What are your superpowers?
Humor. My entire life I've used humor to cope with a lot of things that's happened, and you know, everyone has their own traumas and their own past, and humor has what's helped me get through the tough times. The other superpower would be pretty much anything that has to do with beauty. I love art. I love painting. I love creating art. I'm a makeup artist. I love making women feel beautiful, like a piece of artwork, which they all are. And that's how I met you. It was just, I saw your advertisement and I was like, I need to meet this woman. I want to be photographed by her. Your photos were beautiful, which is something that I've just always been drawn to, you know, and I saw how you brought the beauty out in women, which is also what I did. I love to do too, through makeup.
At the consultation, I asked you, like, who did your makeup? Because it was absolutely beautiful. And you said, like, I'm the makeup artist. I'm like, I have to find out how she works because I want her to do the makeup for my clients. And yeah.
Yeah, and conveniently, my spa and your studio was within 2 blocks of each other. Once we found that out, it was so easy to put the pieces together, and we started working together, and it was a beautiful marriage from the beginning.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and not only the work part, but the friendship that became built from it, and then from there the crazy times that we've had, and how we've both seen each other grow. I mean, gosh, we've been through so much together now at this point. It's been almost 15 years. And people in our lives have come and gone, but you and I have stuck around, and for, you know, until forever, you know, until this life is over. Probably
what was our first adventure? Do you remember?
We went to Jamaica with a really cool group of people, half Russian, half American. And that volleyball game, I'll never forget the volleyball game. You Russians were so adamant that we're going to win, and you had structures and you had a game plan, and we were just all drunk and slapping the ball around and ended up winning. And you couldn't fathom why that was happening. And that was the first time I saw you soften, because you were like, maybe there's something to this having fun thing.
Yes. In Mexico.
it was your idea to skip the line and jump into this van. I'm just going to put it out there. This wasn't my idea.
Okay, wait. It's not Cancun,
It's not. It's Tijuana,
which is
the most dangerous part of Mexico, apparently. Yes. And at the time, we had a friend from Mexico that was like, where are you going? What are you doing? You should not be doing that.
first of all, you should not be there. Second of all, you should be out of there like now.
Yes, we were dancing zouk. That was our first kind of outside of work, what we really connected with was dancing.
Right.
So you guys had been practicing for months, and then you brought me in 2 weeks before the performance.
Yes, and I promised the teacher that they're gonna train you.
You promised the teacher that I knew what I was doing, and I was like a ping pong, like bouncing off of people left and right. And I remember the trainer saying in front of the class, if you don't know how to dance, you probably shouldn't be here. And I remember thinking, I know he's talking about me. I was mortified, but I did it.
It was heavy rain. It was Times Square.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
It was fun. I just wish I knew what it was doing a
Well,
little bit more.
next time.
You could see, yeah. Next flash dance.
And then we decided to go for the big dance festival, which
Yeah.
was for some strange reason in Tijuana.
In Tijuana, yep. So we ended up going there.
And
few
everything
months
was
later.
okay until she got really sick.
I was so sick the day before. So sick that I was hallucinating
Yep.
that you were trying to kill me.
That's another story. We're not even going there.
Don't even know if that was a hallucination or not, because I remember hearing the water running from the sink, and then you came in with a water bottle that was open. I was like, you're feeding me sink water. You're trying to kill me. I'm already dying. I think I fainted in the bathroom. It was terrible. And you would come and check on me and just try to give me the sink water
I
every
tried to
time.
get you as much water as possible, so every toxin in the body will come out.
There was nothing left in my body, I'll tell you that much, after that day.
Yeah.
So
So-
the next day,
We took the taxi, we came to the border, and we saw this line, and the people told us, yeah, it's at least 3 hours. And it's like hot, extremely hot. You on my shoulder, sick and cursing. And I look around, and all of the people in line are locals. And we are the only one, obviously not from there. And there's strange guys talking about us, obviously, and pointing to us. And they said,
$6. You hop in this van, and we'll take you to the border instead.
well,
Like,
I
sure.
thought that might be a good idea. You said, like, no freaking way. They're going to kill us right around the corner and steal our luggage and our money.
Yeah, I really physically couldn't make it. So I was like, all right, I'm either going to die in line or I'm going to die in this van. Either way, the van would be quicker.
So we decided to take a chance, right? We
Yes.
decided to take a chance and follow the guys. They grab our suitcases and start running somewhere. We run with them. Then we see this old bus.
They threw our luggage on the roof without like securing it or anything. It was just up there.
And like, get in. So we're getting into the bus. Insane. Seriously, insane.
We're the only non-Mexicans
Yeah.
on the bus.
Yeah. And we start realizing that but the bus is going to the opposite direction.
The exact wrong direction.
And remember what you asked me?
Yes. I said, how much do you think Russians are worth? And you said, not as much as Americans. And I was like, oh, you're right. Oh, no. So then you're like, I'm going to count to 10. And if this car doesn't turn around, I'm count to 10. We're going to attack the driver.
We're going to take the driver.
Take the driver down. And I'm like, what? No, I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, because seriously, the bus is going opposite direction. Do we have any choice left? No. We have to do something, right?
Yeah.
So, and I start counting to 10 without realizing what's going to happen next. So I'm like 8, 9, 10. And once I say 10, the bus turns around and start going to the right direction.
Yep.
And
we
we're
made
like,
a big
oh,
U-turn. And then it dropped us off at the border. And we didn't have to wait in the line.
And that was the best $6 I ever paid in my life.
I couldn't believe that's all it was. I really couldn't believe we made it. And then that's when we went to the real customs when we were going through customs, and the lines were really long. And then we finally made it through the line. And then our booth guy just got up, and it was his lunch break or whatever. And I remember looking out, and there was a doorway, and I could see California. I could see United States right there. And I just remember, and I had $20 in my pocket.
You turned to me and said, "Watch me. I learned. I just learned this from you." And you turned to the guy.
Yeah, $20. Let us jump in line. And he was like, all right. So he took the 20. We hopped in line, and then people from the other lines were going, that's the American way. Way to go, girls. So we're like, shh, this is probably very highly illegal. But we got through.
Yes.
And then
yes, exactly.
we made it to American soil. And
Yeah.
that was our crazy excursion that we survived. And then shortly after that, we jumped out of planes.
Being little flexible only helps.
A little flexible. Oh my God, yeah. So
It's like trespassing. Like,
the Navy shipyard. Yes, yeah. The town that looked like it was just frozen in time. Like there were tricycles in the yard with the wheels still spinning. Like they just left. And the whole town shut down, and no trespassing signs everywhere. The building that we went into,
that was a little scary.
it was very scary, but very fun. Very, I like going to places that you're not supposed to. I like doing things you're not supposed to do,
Yeah.
apparently. And I like doing them with you.
What other crazy things have you done?
I wasn't able to play sports or really be social the way kids did in high school. I didn't develop friendships. I was very much a loner because I had to be home taking care of the farm that we lived on, taking care of my brothers and sisters because my mom was gone a lot working. From there, me and that high school boyfriend, we moved to Muskegon, Michigan, and we became wranglers on a dude ranch. And we ran a dude ranch. We were one of six or eight people that took care of 100 head of cattle. I think we had like 200 horses. Maybe that number is reversed. Maybe 200 cattle, 100 horses, something like that. And then we put on the rodeos. So I was a rodeo girl, rope steers, bucking broncos, you name it, did the whole 9 yards. We lived there for...
Did you like it?
Yeah, I actually really loved it. I really loved it.
What was the you loved the most?
Well, I mean, gosh, if you need to prove to yourself that you're tough, go live on a working ranch, because you get the shit kicked out of you every day. And being that young, you still bounce. And I bounced all the time off of horses, and I was always getting hurt. And I remember when we first moved there, I think we didn't get paid for like a month. And we were 18 years old. We had no money. And we went and collected cans to, turn them in to get money. And I remember getting like at the most like $17. And we're like, we're rich. And we'd go buy macaroni and cheese and ramen noodles or whatever it was to survive until we got a paycheck. And then we built barns. We built corrals. Like we literally hammer nail built stuff, and I learned how to build things and measure, and it was a really, really fun part of my life doing that. And just, it was hard work, but doing something like that trains you to know that you are tough and you can really get through anything. And people don't scare me. If I can deal with 2,000-pound animals and be tossed around, I was never fearful of people after that. I moved to Las Vegas. I was picked up to be a UFC wrestler for a girls' team.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, so I was trained by Phil Baroni and Tito Ortiz, and I was part of a league of women that just wrestled, and I'm not talking Jello or whatever, like legitimate wrestling, and I was undefeated, I'd like to say. I did it for 2 seasons, and they actually had like a reality show, like they followed us and filmed us and stuff. I'm not even sure whatever became of that. So I'm sure it's out there. It's called GFC, Girls Fight Club. Kind of cheesy, but that's what they named it. And so I was a wrestler, ended up on a few commercials and dabbled in TV shows here and there. I did a lot of background acting, especially when I lived in New York. I was on Blue Bloods and CSI and this one show called Believe. I don't know if it ever actually made it. I just was on the trailers or the pilot.
Were you taking like acting?
I did take some
courses
acting
or
classes. I did that afterwards. I just never really took it seriously. It wasn't a big dream of mine. I just had friends that did it, so I kind of signed up with them. And when you do background work, it's an all day thing. Like you show up at 8 in the morning and you're done sometimes at midnight for like $72. Like you don't do it to make money. You do it for the fun of it. And I got to meet a lot of actors and just be, witness the whole production. And it was just a cool experience to learn about the behind the scenes of movies and TV shows.
But you ever thinking that I'm gonna be an actress and that's gonna be my life?
No, I never thought that. I
Why?
had daydreamed it. Like that would be really cool if I could be. I don't know. It just it wasn't my dream. It really wasn't. I truly never had one dream. Like I'm very scattered. That's why I've done so much.
Or let's say multi-talented.
Yes. Like I've done a lot of things, a lot of experiences, and just I haven't stuck with any one of those for my entire life at all.
Well, you don't need to.
No. What I'm sticking with is multiple experiences. Like that's my consistency is the inconsistency of everything that I've done.
Yeah, I could definitely relate to that.
Yes.
Sure.
So it's funny, my friends around here, they joke because every once in a while, just something pops up to remind me of a memory of something crazy that I did. And I'll look at a painting like, oh, I remember when I used to be a Wrangler. And just say it kind of nonchalantly. And my friends are like, a Wrangler? Like, when were you a Wrangler? I'm like, oh yeah, I did that right out of high school.
How about, I remember you told me about racing cars.
When I was young, like 16, my mom hated this. She did not want me to do this. There was a photographer that used me as a model, and he was part of the NASCAR crews and the pit girls or whatnot. So I got to be a NASCAR pit crew girl, like wave the little checkered flags and be down in the pits with the guys and stuff. So that was really cool. At the time, I'm sure I met everybody that was anybody. I think I'm partly deaf because of being down in the pits. It's so loud in there. And then me personally, I just love fast cars. And I flipped a car. I flipped a Mustang racing on dirt roads. Survived without a scratch. My car was totaled, but I won. That's the key. I won.
What was the price?
Well, the price was that I lost my car. My pride was the price.
Okay.
Yeah. I won.
That's a big one.
I got a lot of street cred from doing that. I just remember the car was upside down, crawling out of the window, and being like, "Did I win? But did I win?" And they're like, "Yeah, but your car's dead." I'm like, "Okay, well, that's all I really needed to know." Now that I'm 45, I'm much more mature. Don't need to prove,
Are you?
Don't need to prove myself, not at all. but I don't feel I need to prove myself. Yeah.
So, why motorcycle? Why now?
So as I was riding on the back of motorcycles, I realized that I would like to be the one in control, and the exhilaration and the speed and the wind in your hair. It reminds me of when I used to ride horses all the time. And it gives me the same feeling. It's like freedom, literally like freedom.
I so can relate to that.
Yes. Okay. So that's why I would like to have my own and be in control. And
I love speed as well, but many years ago, my husband at that time had a terrible car accident.
I remember when you told me about this.
Yeah, so I'm kind of terrified of speeding cars.
Okay.
But I need the feeling of that freedom, that speed, that wind in the air. So I rent jet ski.
Oh, okay.
And then usually in Florida, I go to Florida and rent jet ski, and then I kill the jet ski.
You kill the jet ski? Of course you do. What else is in the
It's
path of that
so
jet
much
ski?
fun.
So
Do you have your helmet already?
I do have a helmet. Yes, I have my
How
helmet.
about leather pants?
I mean, I have leather pants. I don't know if they're considered motorcycle leather pants, but I have leather pants.
Jacket?
I do have a leather jacket. I don't have anything that's like street legal. I don't know if that's even what you say. Like motorcycle leathers.
Well, I'm sure you will have to buy.
Oh, I can't wait to buy a whole. I'm gonna deck myself out. Like I can't wait to. I'll have matching gear and look like
Oh my god,
mean and
so much fun.
yeah. Although I'm just trying to pick the color. Everyone does black because black is cool. But I think I might just go.
You're gonna be white.
I think I might do white. Yeah.
Wow,
All white
it's
leather.
actually really cool.
I think so too. Yeah, I might do white. If not white, then like a light tan, something like that. Just something a little different. Everyone does black, so I'll stand out a little bit.
So you ruined my life.
It's not permanent. You can wash it off.
You completely ruined my life because I experienced you as a makeup artist on me, and I experienced you as a makeup artist on my clients, and you are absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
You don't do makeup, you're actually creating art out of everybody and anybody. So you're not just applying lipstick or eyeshadows. No, you're looking at the person, you clear out the palette, and then you start showcasing the best parts of that particular face.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely incredible every time you do that.
It's
Like, how? What is it so special about you?
well, I think so. My minor was fine art in college, and I've always been an artist on every medium there is out there. From a little kid, I started drawing. I would just become obsessed. I would get into a flow state. I could draw for hours, and it felt like 5 minutes. And so I just kind of progressed into then painting, then sculpting, and in college I did just so much of that, and I used to sell all my paintwork. I did a lot of murals all over, and then I thought that being an artist, if I wanted to make a career from it, I needed to become a graphic designer because that was the quote real job as an artist. Like you could get hired by a company and that job. Being a fine artist is just hard, starving artist. I did it for a couple years in Vegas. That's actually why I moved out to Vegas. I started working for a magazine as a graphic designer. I feel like I always have to preface when I say I lived in Vegas that I was never a stripper, never a dancer, none of that.
Which is like nothing wrong with that.
Nothing at all. But as soon as you say that, people just kind of look you up and down. I'm like, nope, I promise. Like, yeah, I'm a girl. I always wear makeup and all this stuff, but I never did that. So, but I was a graphic designer. And my friends were the strippers, and they were the ones buying their houses and cars and cash, working, having fun every night. And I'd be sitting in a cubicle for 100 hours a week, trying to make deadlines. And like, what am I doing wrong? Do I need to drop my morals? I'm not sure what to do. Las Vegas has the most beautiful salons and spas you'd ever seen. Everyone's happy and dressed trendy, and there's sunlight coming in, and it was just, the spas are gorgeous. And I remember thinking like, I would love to work in an environment like this. I decided to open my own, and then gained enough clients to move to White Plains and open up a larger medical spa there. And
You've done a lot of interesting people.
a lot of them I can't really say the names because they were cheating on their makeup artists with me, and they had contracts. But the one that's easy for me to say because there was no contracts or documents I had to sign was Chelsea Clinton's wedding, and a few of just the people that were attending the wedding that wanted to come that were very influential politicians or whatnot. But yeah, over the years being in New York, I was able to be around a lot of celebrities and do quite a few makeups on some very interesting people and learned a lot. My favorite makeups to do it is for drag queens, actually. I mean, that you just can let your creativity unleash, and more the better for them. It's as a makeup artist, I always hate when someone sits down, they're like, I just want natural. You never want to hear that as a makeup artist. You don't want to hear natural. You want to hear like, pile it on, give me sparkles. Like, So, and the drag queens just, oh, they're so much fun. And I would have people in my medical spa show up where their families didn't even know that they cross dressed or whatever their lifestyle was. I would do their makeup. They would get dressed there. They would go shopping. They would just go shopping,
And then
then
come to my studio for
come
the photo
back.
shoot.
I love that man. He's such a cool person. He ended up coming out and telling his family, and they accepted him. I don't know about the wife, but the daughters were like very happy for him and stuff. So I was very,
And I think it's a very happy story, and then in the same time, it's a very sad story.
well,
Happy that this guy, he was like in his 70s.
yeah, he was very,
We're still trying to get these little moments of through him
yeah,
and experience that, meeting you and doing makeup, then coming to me doing photo shoot dressed up completely different gender, but then said that he has to hide it all
yeah,
his life.
yeah, very sad. I mean, he
So you
eventually,
can call yourself a therapist.
you know what I will say, doing makeup on people is, there's a lot of psychiatry involved. You see somebody come in scared or whatever, they're afraid of what they're going to look like, and then they leave just feeling like a princess or a queen, or they leave so happy.
What's so special about your makeup?
I think because I have roots in fine art, that's where symmetry really comes to play. So you always start with a blank canvas, and that's always what I start with, whether it's a painting, a drawing, or a face. So I pretty much just white out your face. You're all one color. It's not white skin color, but just white out your face. A lot of people like to do the eyes first because you don't want to mess up the rest while you're working. Not me. I like to do the entire face first, look at you, because that's when you really start to see the bone structure. The natural shadows start coming in without the color diffusing it. Like naturally, without makeup, someone has pink cheeks and they have red around their eyes or whatever. Once you get rid of all that, pretty much the bone structure
So
stands out.
why the shadows are important?
Because the shadows tell what to hide and what not to hide. The shadows, so someone that's older, you'll see the shadows in places that make them look older. For someone that has really high cheekbones, you see where the cheekbones are. And if there is a really solid shadow, you don't have to bring that out. If things are receding, that's where you have to bring them out. But once you white somebody out, their features, to me, to my eyes, pop more. And I know what to bring out from there. The way you would want them to. The way you would want to look younger, the way you'd want to look sharper, the way you'd want to look more vibrant. Mm-hmm. So it's just easier to see from a clean slate. So I guess if other makeup artists don't do that and they're just following, I learned how to make this line and I learned that these colors go together. So a lot of people are just working with too many rules instead of looking at the whole flow of the face. They're working within the constructs of what they were taught. So I think that might be the difference.
You also paint and draw.
I like unique beauty, how the Hellenistic period was in the Roman culture, where when Rome was falling, and the statues started to become more realistic, like a beggar woman, or a boxer with a broken nose, or a statue of a homeless man. That's when it really started getting super interesting. They weren't perfect people, and it started to reflect what was happening in the civilization at the time. And there's stories behind that. So you look at these things and you're like, I'm looking at a story. I'm not looking at, beauty for the sake of beauty, which is also amazing to look at. But now I'm looking at a story. And I think that's what I really like to bring out in my artwork. It's really what feeds my soul. Yeah. And I do want to get back into doing more makeup and things like that, because I just really like the connection that it brings with people. And I'm good at it. I just know I'm good at it.
Yes.
And I really like being with people one-on-one like that. That feeds me. That really feeds my soul. So
Let's talk about what happened 3 years ago.
I was just sitting on the couch watching TV, and sometimes I just happen to go like this. I don't know why I do it, but I remember feeling like this little bump, and it almost could have been like an ingrown hair or something very small. And I thought that was strange. Never really noticed it before. That was October. And a month later, I was like, I'm going to get this checked out. November went in. Doctor checked me out. Yeah, you got a little lump there. Let's send you in for a mammogram. Went in a couple weeks later, got the mammogram. It's inconclusive. Now send you for a biopsy. Did a biopsy, came back. Holy crap. I have breast cancer. Out of the blue, just out of the blue.
Did you have the breast cancer in your family?
It's not in my family. It's not. I live a very healthy lifestyle. I eat very healthy. I exercise every day. I mean, my vice would be drinking wine, but I think that's not really a vice. This is my health shake. But I was going through a very stressful couple years where I think that stress might have triggered whatever. I've heard and read that cancer, everyone has the ability to develop cancer, and it's just certain triggers that can trigger it. So I believe the stress is what triggered it. And I found out in December of 21 that I had breast cancer, and then I had a first surgery to remove the tumor in February, and then they didn't get it all. And so I had another surgery in April. Thought I was done. I refused to do chemo or radiation. Why? Because I in my mind, I cut out the tumor and I cut out the stress that was in my life that I believed caused it. So I think I was willing to take chances with taking extra precautions, with being healthy and focusing on my mental health, and just kind of taking my chance that I did everything that I felt was right for me by removing it with surgery and changing the way that I was living. So I decided to go and I decided to not do the chemo, not do the radiation, and definitely not do the drugs that they wanted to put me on, which throw you into menopause, like now, and just everything that I read about them, pretty much they ruin your life. And they wanted me to be on it for 5 or 10 years. And then they found another tumor. They don't know if it was from that had traveled or if it was its own thing. They weren't sure. So I had that last surgery this past Christmas. So far, so good. I'm clear. Considered kind of in remission. It's not really safe to say for a couple of years, and then the 5-year mark is when you're really out of the woods. Mm-hmm. So we're just keeping, every 6 months I go in for different scans, MRIs, and
is there any like therapy?
There is a therapy that I would really love to do. It's just very expensive, and at this point it was just really hard to afford. But it's immunotherapy. I don't even know if they do it here in the States. I think there is a place in California that does it. But there's certain places in Mexico that you can do it.
What exactly is it?
Immunotherapy is where they take your blood out, filter out your blood, infuse it with all these different things that able your body to fight cancer, to fight all kinds of diseases off. Just put all kinds of good stuff back in your blood and then put it back into your body. That's a very cheap way to say what it really does, but you're there for 18 days and then you have to do a follow-up treatment, but you can do it at home like a month later. It costs about $25,000. So if I have to deal with it again, if something comes back, then I'll just bite the bullet and go ahead and do it. My other superpower is optimism and positivity.
Yes.
So I feel like with that attitude, I can heal myself. I can, I'm not really worried. I actually forget that I even had it. And I hate to even call myself a survivor. Like it doesn't sit with me because I had a couple surgeries, but I see people that have removed whole body parts and have huge scars. And I didn't do that. And I give those women so much credit, and some men too. I give them so much credit. They went through the chemo, they went through the pain, they lost their hair, they did that. I just couldn't do that. At this point, I couldn't do that. So
How this experience changed you, if it did?
it's hard to say it. After my last surgery, a week later, I went to a wedding, I was dancing my ass off, with still bandages, still bleeding. And my friends are like, look at this. I can't believe that you can do this. And I paid for it the next day. I was really sore, but I don't feel like it's changed me at all. Actually, I don't know. I forget it's even a part. I don't even worry about it. I just don't. Until it comes time where I have to go in to get my scan every 6 months, then sometimes I have to think about it. Or if somebody asks me, then I think about it. But other than that, no. It's changed me in the sense where I'm taking my body way more serious, health-wise. I always was healthy. It's hard to even change because I had nothing but healthy habits, other than probably my mental health. I allowed myself to be in toxic situations for way too long. I allowed myself to be a people pleaser for way too long, to not put myself first. So that's where I would have changed how I conducted my life. It's just, I have to be selfish a little bit. Everyone should be.
Absolutely.
Everyone should be. Because if you don't take care of yourself first, you're not going to show up for anybody else 100%. You have to make sure you're solid in your own beliefs, your own core. You're solid, and that's you have to really put yourself first before anyone else. And I don't care if that sounds selfish, quote, but that's how I've changed, if I've changed.
You've done ayahuasca.
Oh yeah.
Why?
At 13 years old, it had come out that I was molested. It's my most darkest, dirtiest, horrible secret. Now, granted, this had gone on for years. I developed an eating disorder. I'm tying these two. I feel like they have to be hand in hand. So I was anorexic, very anorexic, and then it switched. Bulimia became part of that. So I was kind of toggling back and forth between anorexia and bulimia. And
Did anybody knew that?
Most people that have bulimia are very average weight, so you can't really tell. Just the psychosis becomes so ingrained in you and so controlling of every day, every single day. So for my whole life, it kind of toggled back and forth between the two. And I dealt with for 30 years, from the time of 13 to 43. At 43, I was extremely depressed, extremely suicidal. I didn't want to live another day living like this, with this illness, this disease, whatever. It doesn't feel like a disease. It was just like something that I did, just a part of me that I couldn't shake no matter what I did. I've tried everything, all kinds of therapies, nothing touched it. So I started researching alternative therapies to help me with this. And this ayahuasca popped up. And along with this ayahuasca was this woman, and she was like a leading psychologist that dealt with psychedelics and healing eating disorders. And she had brought a patient with her that was cured by this ayahuasca. She went into the jungle and did this ayahuasca, which is a tea made from an ayahuasca vine and the chacruna leaf, and they put it together and they boil it, and it creates a psychedelic tea. And you take it and you see visions, and all kinds of amazing things happen. People always ask you, don't you throw up with that? Yes, you do. But you know what? You want to. Because with that purge comes, you're removing layers of trauma. You're removing parts of you that are creating havoc within your soul. And that's what ayahuasca does.
It's like resetting your body
It
and
really,
your mind.
yes. But ayahuasca is like a spirit that knows what you need. It knows how to show you in ways that you need to see things to change your perspective, to heal, to forgive. Sometimes it's physical. Like I've been literally felt like somebody was grabbing me, flipping my body around, twisting my bodies in different ways, like I was being wrung out like a towel without me doing it. Like I'm moving, but why am I moving like this? I don't even know why this is happening. To seeing dead relatives that have come and have a message for you, to being in an underground world. Like there's all kinds of different things, but every time I call it going under. Every time you go under, you come out with a new lesson, a new perspective on something, and it's like like an onion peeling away the layers of trauma. So every time I did it,
How many sessions
so
do you need, or somebody needs?
everyone's different. It's very different. So I had a 30-year eating disorder. 30 years it took, and it took 3 years of me to completely get rid of it. All that hard work, it changed my life. It freed me. It freed me. So my treatment centers, they're very rustic. You literally live in a grass hut among tribes of people. They accepted me. So I went and stayed and lived in the middle of the Amazon for about a month. We did 4 ayahuasca ceremonies a week. And a ceremony is, oh my gosh, the most magical thing I've ever been a part of. You are in a place called a maloka, which is like a circular building. You each have your own little mat. There was anywhere from 6 to 20 people in this maloka, and then 3 shamans. They call your name. You go up, you get your little cup of tea. You drink it. You go back to your mat and you sit down. After about 40 minutes, the shamans start singing. You just sit there and you're just waiting for the effects to take place. Nothing happens. Once they start singing, it literally turns it on. Like instantly. It's so weird. You start seeing lights. You start seeing patterns. You start feeling something different. You feel like something's entering your body. You can start having, you can or cannot have visions. My first 4 nights, I didn't have any visions. It was just like my body was being taken over by the music. You become, it's almost like your body just dissolves, and then you're just a consciousness. And then sometimes you have visions that show you different stories or different versions of what you've experienced, like from a different perspective. You're like, oh, I was missing that part. I didn't understand that part. So now I understand why I should forgive this person, or what this illness really is. Like I learned to love my eating disorder because it was a way that I protected myself. I needed this. It was my protection. It was there to help me. And now I didn't need the help. So I had to literally thank it and love it and accept it for what it was. And once I did that, it left me. It disappeared.
So interesting.
Yeah. And the first time in my life after coming back from Peru, from being there for a month, the first time in my life I didn't have any symptoms for 1 month. And I thought, oh my God, I'm cured. Like, this is it. A month later, it started creeping back in. They started happening again. And then
Well, it's logical because so many years.
so many years, it was so ingrained in me. But it was the first relief I ever had. And that was the first hope to keep going.
Right.
Oh my gosh, this is actually a real thing. Like, this can really happen. And to live my life even for 1 month without all of those thoughts and feelings, and every day in and out, like worrying about, what was going to happen, if
And keeping the secret.
keeping the secret. Yeah. You develop a relationship with the shaman. He knows why you're here. So you go up and he pours your ayahuasca in a cup, and he says a special prayer for you, and he has an intention for you. So you go and you also create an intention for yourself before each ceremony. This is what I want
So
to
it's
work on.
of the energies.
Yes. What psychedelics do is we have all these neurons and pathways carved into our brains that create habits, right? So we wake up and we do the same thing every day. We get our cup of coffee, we take the shower, we have our same patterns because this is a carved pathway in our brain. So psychedelics kind of come and they snip those pathways and create a new clean slate for you to now
New options.
put in, new
space.
habits, new thoughts, not these revolving thoughts that, we get stuck in. Do you remember Etch-a-Sketches? You draw something and then you take it and you shake it and now it's clean and you redraw it again. Like, that's what psychedelics do for your brain. And I am a very prime example of that because of a 30-year pattern that I had that now I just Etch-a-Sketched it away. It's so magical and it's so powerful. And sometimes I just want to stay in that world because it's so pure.
It can be addictive.
Yeah, there was the same way learning is addictive.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like I don't crave it. In fact, you don't really want to go. I call it the gauntlet. I hate the way it tastes. It gives me the shivers. It's disgusting. And it gets worse every time you drink it. So you don't crave that. And then there is that part where you're purging and you can get really sick. So that's not fun, But what you get out of it afterwards is that's nothing. That's a drop in the bucket. It's nothing. Eckhart Tolle said it the best. The way he described, imagine all the waves going to the beach and crashing, right? All these little waves have their own little agenda. They're all doing their own little thing, going in this direction, this direction. And then once they crash and they disperse, what do they become? The ocean. So we're all part of the ocean, but we're just a little wave of it. So that's the best visual that I can come up with as to what we really are and what psychedelics prove to you, show you. Every time I go under, that's what I see and I realize. So that's why I say it should be in the water. Everyone should experience it because you get brought back to the depth of who we really are.
Do you think that's the only way to get back to that feeling?
I believe that meditation can probably, if you practice it enough and get into a deep enough meditation, I do believe that. I had cured my eating disorders, right? And then this new stuff came along with the cancer, with the breakup. Everything in my life got flipped upside down in its head within a month of each other. And I became very depressed. And then I didn't know what the cancer was going to do, and that was scary. So ayahuasca is hard to come by because you have to travel to all these different countries to chase it. But now ketamine is legal. I now partake in ketamine therapy.
Why?
that has been proven to relieve the signs of depression, because I had slipped back into being very depressed, thinking about suicide a lot, slipped back into that. And I didn't know, I didn't know how to, I didn't really want to live anymore. I just didn't, there was no joy in any moment of any day. No joy. It was so, I just wanted to sleep all the time. I didn't want to get up. It was just a very uncomfortable way to be. And my natural set point is optimism. So I'm so far from the person that I really am that I just wanted to stop everything. Just wanted to quit. So I needed something to shake me up. I sought out the ketamine therapy. I know a lot of therapists that do it. In that community of the ayahuasca, it's a whole psychedelic. It's not just ayahuasca, but it's a psychedelic community. So reaching out to some of my people that I know told me I should try this. Gave it a shot. I've been doing it for a few months now, and it's relieved all of those symptoms. I'm now back out. I'm going out. I'm active now. I'm working out again. Where I'd stopped all of my life for like a year and a half, I literally just stopped being social. I just isolated myself completely, and every day was miserable. And I would literally be in bed by 5 o'clock most days because I just would rather be sleeping than be awake. And now I feel great. I feel great. So that I don't
Will
know.
you be taking this medication for the rest of your life?
I think psychedelics are a good way to reset, to balance yourself again. Life throws you curveballs, and it helps you deal with it. It helps you see things from a different perspective and get out of your head. And just the expansion of the mind and being able to be in this energy field, to be non-physical. You literally become non-physical, and you get to experience being a part of these different dimensions and these different worlds, and that experience itself is so amazing. Like it's like I know what it's going to be when we die. I've experienced death. I'm not kidding. I've experienced death. I know what's going to happen when we die. And
Is it a happy place?
it's a very happy place. I wouldn't call it heaven. I don't believe in a heaven or a hell. It's just, there's just energies. You can look towards the light, or you can be in a lower vibration. And neither of them are good or bad. And they each help you realize kind of where you want to be. But sometimes a low vibration is where you need to be.
How about life?
So what it does for life is it just makes you not take everything so seriously. It makes you not take the problems seriously, and you can just relax more.
But aren't you addicted on medication?
I could stop.
So then why can't you do it yourself without medication? The same thing.
Well, it's a powerful mind expansion that I don't know how to do without psychedelics, but I know that people have done it with meditation, and I'm learning that now. So I'm actively picking up these different styles of meditation to be able to reach this vibration that I can kind of take myself out of the body. We are able to trigger this ourselves through certain breathing techniques, through certain meditations. I'm just trying to learn that because I would like to do it every night if I could. Like I would love to do it without, paying for a medication or paying for treatments, and just being able to do it myself. So that's what I'm actively researching and trying different things out.
So you're kind of testing the waters with medication and then trying to apply that.
Exactly. So, and not every medicine is good for every person. There's so many different avenues and different types of psychedelics to take. And it's a different experience with each one. They're very unique. They're very different, but they take you to the same place. They all get you to the same place.
Which is
that universal, that one consciousness.
Why it's important to be there.
Well, I mean, once you forget that you're connected, that me and you are the same thing, that me and the person that I hate is the same thing. Once we forget that we're connected, that's when chaos erupts. If I treated you the way I'd want to treat myself, then this world would just be a much better place. And that's what we've just become disconnected with who we really are and what we're really doing here. Which in the teachings that I follow, Abraham Hicks, this huge joy and expansion is why we're here. We're here to expand this one consciousness, to figure out what we want, what we don't want, and to feed that to the larger part, and then just keep moving from there. And if everyone understood that we're here to be happy and we're all part of the same thing, the world would change. The world would just change.
So with all this extensive research, medical research and development, why there is no pill that the doctor will prescribe you in the office? So you don't have to travel to different countries, to Amazons, to experience that.
That's happening. That's actually currently happening. So psilocybin, mushrooms, ketamine now, there's ketamine clinics all over the place. That literally is a pill. It could be a pill, it could be an injection. So this is so new, but yes, that's actually happening now. But now they're being regulated by the big pharmas. You know, everyone's got to make their money, but at least it's going to be out there. So yeah, everything is becoming legalized. Ayahuasca is on the verge of becoming legalized. Psilocybin is going to be a few more years. But if you follow the MAPS organization, it produces all the information out there from like Johns Hopkins, all the different universities, everybody that's studying this, that's researching and putting the studies out there to prove what it's doing for humanity. You know, all the different ailments it's treating, all the different conditions that humans have. It's just on the cusp of legalizing all of it for medical treatments. So it's actually out there now.
So let's just make a theory. You've done ayahuasca and it helped you with your disorder, which was a kind of stress in your life.
Yeah.
But cancer is also can be coming from stress.
Yeah.
So then would that treatment will help you with killing the cancer?
That's kind of why I didn't do all the other stuff, because I feel like this is an avenue that I'd prefer to take and take my chances with doing the psychedelics and healing in that way. But there are people that have gone to the jungle to cure their cancer and have succeeded. I know a few different cases: cancer, multiple sclerosis, and I'm talking stage 4, like testicular cancer. Other.
That's when the doctor will tell you
Yeah,
you have so much to live.
Yep. I know one of the women that run one of these retreats, she had multiple sclerosis so bad, she was very crippled up on tons of medication. You would never know it now. She lives there and lives in the jungle and runs this retreat, is completely free of it just by doing ayahuasca.
Wow.
And believing in it. Like, you have to have your mind open to, you know.
Well, that's the prerequisite, I guess.
Yeah. But if it can happen for this person, then it can happen for me. And you have to be open to it, which that's the hard part. That's the hard part, is getting people out of their heads thinking this is magic or voodoo or, you know.
But then you ruin the whole business of our medical system.
Yeah. But, I mean, the medical system has got a hold of it already. Like, now they are distributing pills that are psychedelics. You can literally get them in the mail now. So they are grasping, which, fine, whatever. It's actually become easier to get a hold of. So if someone needs to make money off of it, as long as people are still being helped, then, you know, I'm not going to say I don't have a problem with it. It should just be available if you want it to be available. But it's at least it is available. At least it is legal, and you can do this stuff, and you can heal yourself without the risk of going to jail, you know. And yeah, and so can the practitioners, because there's been so many practitioners that, you know, took a chance to help people, knowing they could have lost their license, knowing that they could, you know, face time, but still did it because it was for the good of humanity. And like those people, those are my celebrities, you know.
What's the future holds for you?
So I feel like I'm at the cusp of just a brand new life. I'm coming out of this big depression. I'm coming out of being sick. I'm 45 years old. I'm coming out of the first half of my life. So the future is, when I think of it, it feels amazing. Like it's going to be amazing. It's going to be, I've learned so much in my first half of my life that I'm going to put the pieces in where I want them now. And I know how to control this, to control the controllables, I guess.
What would you say to you, the 20 years old you, knowing all of this?
Start doing psychedelics right now. That would be my number one.
Oh, seriously?
Oh my God, yes, yeah. Because if I could have shaved off 25 years of going through this, yeah, I would have.
You could have healed your issues with
What would
eating
my
disorders.
life? Yeah, if I didn't have that as such a focus of my life, where would I be today? Like, how much more successful would I be? I think about that. So,
Okay, what's another advice?
another advice would just be really like, don't take this so seriously. Like, don't take life too seriously. Do what you can to enjoy yourself, to have fun. Don't worry the way you used to worry. Don't kind of try to control everything. Just relax. Really, that's it. And that's how I'm going to live the rest of my life, is just trying to relax and more just go with the flow and let people do their own thing. Let people be people. Everyone has reasons, and just spread as much joy as you can. I'm going to start working on everything that I've learned in my life so far, putting it out there in a way that I can help people. Everything that we talked about, whether it's psychedelics, whether it's eating disorders, whether it's humor, whether it's makeup, I don't care. Everything that I have gathered in my bag of life tricks, I would like to use that to put out there to just, you know, help any way I can. So I'm going to use social media because it's the easiest platform out there to just start exposing these things. Want to write a book. I'm going to finish my book that's my 5-year plan. It's really my 2-year plan.
About ayahuasca experience.
About my ayahuasca and probably psychedelics as a whole. But ayahuasca is what started the whole thing, and that's where my heart is really. But but psychedelics as a whole. Within 5 years, I would really, really love to sit across from Tim Ferriss. And
Hi, Tim Ferriss.
Talk with him.
She's coming to meet you.
Oh, I would love that. Oh, he's like my spirit animal. I love that man. But I would like to be in a position where I could be around other people that this is so important to them, because it's changed their lives too, and to use the psychedelics in a way that I can, you know, just spread the word, help people, guide people, tell them my experience. So find a way to do that. Even maybe some type of coach or therapist or something that I can be there for people. If I could make this happen, would be to open up a treatment center where all psychedelics are welcome, where there's therapists, there's people that come there to heal their traumas, to heal something, to heal addictions, and to just have a safe place, like almost like an Airbnb, a bed and breakfast, but where there's people to hold you, to help you through these things, and have my own treatment center. That would be a huge, if I could do any one thing, that would be a dream of mine.
What do you need for that?
I would need, complete legalities sorted through, and just to buy some type of compound, to finance either a big house, a castle, a lot of land in case people decide to go running off into the woods, but just build a maloka. But if I could do any one thing, if I could dedicate myself to something that would be completely fulfilling, it would be something like that. Because if we truly are connected, then helping you is helping me in some way, so that's why. Just helping people and showing people that there is a different way, that the thoughts that you're stuck thinking doesn't mean that that's the truth, that that's the reality, that you can change, you can shift things, and just opening people's minds to that. A lot of people just feel so stuck because they don't know how to break through what they're going through or what they're living, and just to allow people to see that there are other ways, that this isn't really it.